Hi. If you don't know me already, my name's Jack Black, and as the Americans often like to say on this kind of thing, I'm really excited to be given an update to where I am and what I'm proposing to do in the near future. So if someone's recommended you watch this and you've never been with me before, I trust that you'll be inspired to participate in one of the two opportunities that will be coming your way. You've got to ask yourself, why did they recommend this? I think they probably recommended it because in their own lives they've found that what I've taught them or shared with them has had an impact, in some cases a huge impact. It's pretty special what I'm about to share, so you're more than welcome if you're new. Of course, if you've been with me before, it's been a while since I've actually done something like this even. I've had a video. You'll remember that when COVID kicked off in those first few months, I came on a Wednesday night onto Facebook Live. I subsequently added that to my YouTube channel, whatever we recorded. And I did it, as far as I remember, I did it every Wednesday night for an entire year. I initially came on to help people with the fear and anxiety that was obviously rampant, especially here in the UK in the news, but I know from visiting other parts of the world since that it was huge as well on your evening news there too. And there was a lot of fear, and rightly so at the time because we didn't understand it and so on. And what I found myself doing was sharing the old tools and techniques that work with the fear and anxiety to help people. But then inevitably I started to interview professors, I interviewed doctors, I interviewed researchers. I interviewed lots of people in ways to see if we could help one another. And we had pretty special time. Now, before COVID, I had more or less stopped teaching public courses, leading up to kind of stopping it a few years before, just because it kind of ran out of steam at the time. And I think the courses that were happening at that time, I did come around Glasgow, Ireland and London with Phil Holmes. We did a programme together. Some of you participated on that. Of course, there was always the Best of Mindstore, which I went to those cities on. We had Whispers with Giants, which was big development on working with our intuition. And of course, Extreme Mindfulness, which was applications of using intuition in their lives. But fundamentally, what Mindstore has been about over all the years, it's just been empowering people to giving them tools and techniques that they can use to take, if you like, control of their life, to take personal ownership and to go out there and live their life to the full. And by and large, people who have shared those techniques and used them in their lives, they've found that to be the case. And I still meet people 30 years, 20, 10 years on and so forth, who remind me that they were out on a course and at the time they, for example, wrote down a bunch of goals, which at the time when they wrote them down seemed impossible, but they achieved all of them, and they tell me how important the tools and techniques have been. So inevitably, where I find myself in recent times was, as some of you know, I came to Glasgow and I came to Dublin to share some new techniques. And I did that basically for the cost of my travel. And we managed to get a free venue in Glasgow. It was filled immediately, as far as I understand. And we had a venue in Dublin, a great venue in Dublin, bit of cost involved, but the people who came along shared in that. I didn't take anything for it. We just did the programme. And I shared these tools and techniques. So a few of you got them, but the vast majority of Mindstore people are not aware of the developments. Inevitably, what I've been doing is I'm still developing the techniques, they're evolving. You know, I'm still working closely with them, and I continue to work with corporates. But something huge happened at the start of this 10 years, this decade of our lives, the 2020s, where I got involved with a great Mindstore member. I've been doing stuff for him before in different companies he's worked for, and I'll certainly mention him when we get to the courses. But he's given me permission to share some research he was doing privately, and I'll be able to show you all a video in either of the programs if you choose to attend them. But it's seriously what he found, what he let us all see, those of us who were privileged to see it, was, for me, totally life-changing. I mean, it's easy for me to say that, you know, given that I've taught this to over 500,000 people, travelled all over the world, been really, really blessed with the opportunities that this has led for me and the amazing people I've met. I suppose to say something like this changed my life is kind of, you know, and you hear these kind of things, but I'm telling you, it's absolutely massive. Because what he did was he did some private research into what was going on in his brain using electroencephalography. And he got to a point where he did something, which is what we do with the Mindstore tools and techniques anyway, but he did it, and in the moment he did it, something totally amazing happened with the feedback that was coming through the device so that we could understand it through electroencephalography. And for what it did is it certainly proved that something amazing happens when we make a connection to what I, as you know, will call source, not so I don't upset anyone. It could be your subconscious, it could be the fairies, might be God, the universe, it's whatever you want to believe in, that's fine. But maybe something more than your normal sense of intelligence. And there was proof that something was going on. For me, it was overwhelming, and it kind of disturbed me, to be honest, because it was proving that when Andrew Carnegie said away back in 1908 to the young Napoleon Hill that the secret of his success was those conversations he had last thing at night, turns out was absolutely true. So the richest guy that ever lived who gave 95% of his wealth away. I mean, I didn't agree with everything that guy did. In fact, I think he's caused lots of challenges in the world, but that's by the way. But he gave his wealth away, 95% of it. Extraordinary. An amazing human being. But you could argue, of course, it's easy to give 95% of your wealth away when you're a multi-billionaire. Not so easy if you're truly, truly struggling financially. And that brings me to the point. What I want to do is I want to bring people up to date with new techniques. I want to do it in two separate ways. When I did the thing in Glasgow particularly, and obviously in Dublin, but I realised that there were people who could benefit if I was able to put on a proper course, a 1 day or a 2 day, if you like, updated, upgraded, enhanced Mindstore course. And instead of taking fees, that we charged a decent fee, and the fee went to charity or charities. And I put that out on social media, and there was immediately a response from 1 or 2 charities, particularly in the Glasgow area. There's one up in Aberdeen interested, one in Dundee, one in Newcastle, which could probably lead to something in London. Haven't heard from the Irish yet, which is kind of interesting, because I thought I might have done, but maybe they're just not aware of what I was attempting to do. And then what came out of it was, inevitably, you put these things out there, and someone got in touch who's involved in a big way with the Scottish charity scene, and they have got direct access to a huge Scottish charitable trust, which owns a massive venue. And what's potentially on offer, we're still chatting it through, but what seems to be on offer is that there is a huge venue which could take, it's a multi-resource kind of venue, so there could be a good few hundred in a room, could even be a good few thousand in a room, and we're willing, the trust that owns that are willing to give us it for free, provided of course that all the profit from it goes to charities. Some of it will be into their trust, their charitable trust, and some into charities that have been in contact with me. And the person who's able to organise this came up with the idea that we use, I think it's something called Eventbrite. I think some of you will be aware of that, not personally, but from what I understand, they can handle all the ticketing, and they can give codes to the charities that we would like to work with, so that their people can get a special code which allows them to get a much reduced fee. And then those of us who can afford a decent fee can rightly pay for that fee. And so this would be on a Saturday. We're looking at, I think, the second last Saturday in June. I think it's the 23rd of June, something like that. So it's in the summer. The reason why that might be important is this is on the outskirts of Glasgow. It's not in the city centre. It's accessible by car, obviously. There is a train station 20 minutes walk away from the venue. In a summer's morning, that might be very pleasant. Summer's evening, balmy June evening in Glasgow could be pretty cool. The question, of course, is whether we do that over 1 day or 2 days. I'm looking for your support in this. I'm looking for your comments on it. What would be a reasonable fee, so that those of you who can afford to come to a programme will pay something half decent, which will go to the charities. None of it will come to me. I'll just get my expenses, which will be a flight and maybe accommodation, maybe some food. But we'll do something amazing, and I'll share with you. I will share with you seriously improved and upgraded tools and techniques. And for absolute beginners, they'll be able to come in, be part of it very, very quickly, and benefit. And the guy who owns this, or who's directly responsible for this trust fund, he is very interested in the fact that in Scottish business communities there could be a lifting of spirit, there could be a lifting of attitudes. Maybe there's all the doom and gloom that's in the world, maybe that's affecting the Scottish economy, maybe the companies out there could send people to it as well, and that people get inspired by, because the tools and techniques work. I mean, constantly working in corporates. Why? Why was I in Phuket in Thailand just a few weeks ago? Because the company that took me out there know that it's profoundly impacted the performance of those who use the tools and techniques. So the Scottish economy, or anybody else who wants to send people up or across to that event from your company, then of course you should do that. And you're going to get it at a much reduced rate. But then again, it's going to be the weekend, so the people you send who give up their Saturday, probably not, but maybe also their Sunday, then they're giving something up. They're actually buying it by giving their time, which is very important in the ownership side of it, because companies can pay for people and they don't necessarily own it. But that would be quite interesting. But certainly for you Mindstore people who've been with me for over the years, I mean, one of the things you always say to me is, I wish I had this when I was 15, 12, 18, 21, and we all do, of course, but you got it when you got it. And what we all know is that the more we repeat it, the more we understand it. So here's an opportunity to repeat, but get new tools and techniques, upgraded tools and techniques, and see this thing which I'll show you in video, which once you've seen it, you cannot unsee. You just can't unsee it. And once it makes sense to you about that connection, oh my goodness. And one of the exciting things also for me is that a lot of you who will have been with me over the years in repeated programs, I mean, look at me right now. I'm not the guy that was on the stage 30 years ago. I'm much sort of further down my life's journey. But the truth of the matter is, I've just got the same vibrancy and energy. I still perform in front of an audience like I did a few weeks ago in Thailand, like I did all those years ago. I've still got the same drive to teach this, the same passion to teach it, but even more excitement. So the thing is, for those of you who have been before and come on a journey, and maybe some of you are at the age where normally people retire, well, there's no point in retiring. There's just no point in that. What about the years? You could have 30 years ahead of you, 40 years ahead of you, especially if we consider some of the things we can do to massively improve our health. And what are you going to do the extra years? And for the young, for the people who you love and care for, or people you've got relationships with who are much, much younger, for goodness sake, encourage them to come. We're not going to charge them the earth. They're going to pay and give back to those less fortunate than themselves. And the charities that have expressed interest are charities where there has been, where people they work with directly have struggled in the past with addiction, substance abuse and so on. But you know, coming through that and on the other side of it and driving forward, and we can really help those people. And many of them are back in employment, of course they are, and they can obviously pick up the normal fee, but some aren't. And then there's homeless charities, which I'm really interested in Glasgow, and helping them. What if we could help them get back on their feet by lifting the gloom, by lifting the darkness, empowering them to see futures again? And what if ultimately what this is all about, this thing called life, is to understand why you're here? What is your purpose? And your purpose is tied definitely to you acting out by using the gift that you came here with. We've all got a gift. We've all got something. When Napoleon Hill was talking to Andrew Carnegie said to him a way back that when he left Scotland when he was 12 years old, his grandmother said to him, but she believed in the Lord. That's how the language she used. The good Lord has given every boy and girl a gift, she said to him. And she said, your journey in life is to, when you meet people, is to find out what do you think their gift is. And if you can find it, polish it up, treat it like gold, and it will outshine everything else about them. And then she warned him, though, that most people don't look for the gold, they look for the dirt. When you think about it, but we've all got, and the degree to which you've got the gift, well, we're all different. But what if the reason why you're here is to find out what that gift is and then to apply it in the service of other human beings? Especially as you get to the age groups that I'm in, and a lot of you will be inevitably, bring your youngsters, get your grandchildren, get your nieces and nephews and all the rest of it to come to this and benefit and give to charity as a result. Think about that, to those less fortunate than them. Yet walk away with this. But for you to really understand, maybe in the final phase of your life, this next phase of your life, that what can I do with this gift? How can I fulfill my purpose? I'm going to cover all that stuff. It's so exciting. So there'll be a live program, and hopefully we'll be able to announce that. At the moment we're still in negotiation, but it's looking really good. And that's the dates we're looking at, the end of June, the Saturday at the end of June in Glasgow. It'll be in the outskirts, but hey, there's a train station, you can get to it from Edinburgh, you can get to it from Glasgow. You can walk in the sunshine. Wouldn't it be amazing if there was just train after train spilling out and coming to get this training? That would be fantastic. And all of it going to people less fortunate than yourself. And then those who are coming, who are using the discount code, can come there with dignity, because they'll be paying for them a lot of money to participate. Even if that's only a tenner, for some people that's a fortune. But we'll see what happens. The question I've got to ask you though in relation to this is, if we're doing a one-day course, what are you prepared to pay? There'll be a sweet spot. There's a spot where if it's a wee bit more, it feels too expensive because of your own situation. On the other hand, if it's too cheap, you're just going to think it's too cheap. It's always been the issue with me. So I could charge thousands and thousands, and I have, of course. People truly value it. But then a lot of people wouldn't get it. But then some people look at this course and think, well, it can't be that good, it's only a few pounds. Well, we need to get a sweet spot. I want to know what you think that is. Is it 50 quid? Is it 70 quid? Is it 30 quid? It's probably somewhere in there. It might be 100 quid, but I doubt it. And so what I'd like you to do is DM me or email me, jack.black@mindstore.com. Give me your opinion. You might not want to put it personally on this site, but you can, of course. But it'd be good to get feedback so that and when we're planning and talking it through and making commitments to one another, we can maybe go ahead confidently with a fee for that programme. Remember, it's all going to charity. Now, the other programme that you've been aware of if you follow me on social media is I have developed a completely new process that's aligning itself with what you're going to learn when you see that video, but going to take it to another level. But the way to do that work, however, can't be done in a public venue easily, because you're going to have like what I've got here. You're going to have a table to work at, because you're going to need to be writing. You're going to need certain kind of equipment. And so what's going to happen is that there'll be two 3-hour workshops, one after probably a fortnight apart, and then there'll be a 4-hour final workshop. Now, at the end of the second workshop, I'll explain what the resources you're going to need to have to bring with you to that final workshop, because you'll be doing stuff and you need the equipment to do it. The equipment's probably going to cost about an extra 20 quid, maybe 25 quid, probably unlikely. Some of you might already have most of the equipment, but a lot of you probably don't have. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because it's going to blow your mind when we actually apply it. But if I tell you what it is, your left brain, which it does anyway, just comes in and immediately judges it. It prejudices your position on it because you've possibly got an attitude towards it, but or you've done that kind of thing before from a different perspective, and you weren't happy with it. We're going to be doing something completely different. We're going to be doing something extraordinary, and only in the moment when you're tuned to your intuition, and with at the same time doing that simultaneously with others who are participating, then magic's going to happen. Magic's going to happen where your source, your connection will come to the fore, and it'll allow you to really, really understand what it is you've got to do in the next phase of your life. So that's going to be unique to an online scenario. People joining me on a platform somewhere, and we're coming on a journey together. I mean, the first half of it is going to be bringing you up to date with the same sorts of tools and techniques I'll do in that charitable gig, but bring them up to date in the context of where I'm taking you. And so the 2 weeks between the second workshop and the third workshop, which is all practical, you could be doing quite a bit of homework, going to be working on yourself, ready for this groundbreaking and actually mind-blowing outcome. It's just fantastic. I've been playing with it, I've had fun with it. Its potential is just amazing. But it's time's now come. I'm just ready to share it. It's come into my consciousness now. I wasn't ready with this before. And even if I had been, there was no way I could have done it in a public setting. It just wouldn't have worked because of the fact that you need equipment, you need space, you need a work surface like a kitchen table, or in my case, a desk in your office, at home. Of course, if you've got enough tables around somewhere, people could do it. Maybe a few of you could maybe do that together. I don't know how you do that, but we'll talk about that maybe later near the time. We haven't got that sorted yet in terms of when. I'd like to do it soon, maybe even before the event in June. But I haven't chosen yet the right platform. I need some kind of platform that will look after all the technical side of it. You know, I just show up, I'm live, and we follow a process together, and you're able to participate and do it. Obviously, you'll take the fees and I'll get something out of it. That's obviously not going to be a charitable thing. I'm going to do that commercially. Still probably at a reasonable price. I'm thinking probably around about 150 quid plus VAT, however that works out in these platforms. And over and above that, you're going to need that 20 quid worth of equipment, but you'll be able to use the equipment well after the program. This is going to be life-changing. It'll change your life at so many levels, but you'll certainly have clarity on how you're going to use your gift, your unique ability, the reason why you're here, if you like, going forward in your life. So it's ideal for business owners, it's ideal for corporates sending their people. It's really good for those of you who are still really committed to going on and building a career or maximising your life's journey. It's going to be amazing for that. And of course, if you're just curious, Mindstore type person, what's Jack doing, then of course you're going to thoroughly enjoy that as well. Probably a limited number on that. I don't know the platform sort of limitations. I've looked at one platform, it's not going to work for us. So I'm just going through different platforms till I figure it out, and then I'll let people know. Again, maybe you can give me some feedback on terms of your excitement for that, participating in that. Would you want to participate in that? Obviously, there's a fee involved. To be honest, if we were doing it in a room, I would charge you so much more money than that. But hey, we're living at a time when there's lots of challenges. And let's just finish with this. This is a challenging time in the history of the world. You would say all along the 30 odd years I've been doing this, times have been tough for all sorts of reasons. But there's so much darkness. I'm going to say it, there's a lot of evil in the world just now, manifesting all over the place. There's fears and anxieties. There's whole countries split in two, and so on and so forth. There's genuine fear of the future, the economy, the way that the things are moving, the wars in the world, and so on and so forth. There's a desperation for light, desperation for hope, and a desperation for getting back to each of us having some sense of commitment to our own futures and participating and like giving back, like with the charitable gig. I'm going to provide lots of hope and aspiration and excitement for you, and you're going to uncover for yourself what it is you're going to want to do in the next part of your life. And you're going to have all the tools and techniques. Now, if you've been before, you know they work. You might not have always used them. I know that, I understand that. But you're going to get back on with it. And you're going to have more powerful tools to add to what you already have. And if you do get the chance to come on the online programme, oh my God, what a gift that's going to be for you moving forward. So there we are, that's where we're at. Please give me feedback about the fee thing for the Saturday in June in the outskirts of Glasgow. We'll announce that in more detail once we've finally sort of got a kind of contractual arrangement with that trust. It's looking good though. I'm very, very excited about it. And if that doesn't happen for any reason, we'll trust it and we'll go back to the original idea and work with individual charities and smaller venues. That'll be fine. So something will happen anyway in that front. And if you feel comfortable coming on to the online one, then I can't wait to share that with you as well. I'll be in touch though. Keep your eyes open on social media for any updates. And between now and then, well, have a fantastic few days as you let this sort of sink in and get your attitudes figured out about it. Are you coming? Are you not? Why are you not coming? Think about it. Why would you deprive yourself of this stuff? It's going to completely move things forward. And if we do it in Glasgow, in that venue, we'll give so much more back to charity. How exciting is that? Anyway, have a wonderful next period. Hopefully I'll be able to speak to you soon with more updates. All the very best. Thanks for watching. Thanks for giving me your time. I really appreciate it. Bye now. Bye-bye.